Hi, this is GameAether. We're here at Dee Con, the biggest gaming and anime convention in Scotland. We'll be talking to some of the cosplayers, some of the stall owners, some of the industry professionals. We'll see how it goes, right?
So guys, what have we won? Get Thanks very much. That's great. We love you.
For the 6th year on the trot, the folks at Dundee University have hosted their annual anime and gaming convention Dee Con, and this year GameAether decided to come along for the ride. Con veterans will know that cosplay is serious business, and the cosplayers at Dee Con weren't getting around. Well, somewhere. Maybe most. Anyway, Talisker and I chat to some of the costumed heroes and heroines to find out more.
Gotta go fast.
Brilliant, thanks man. Are you looking forward to anything particular, some of the talks or?
Yeah, the Bandersnatch talk.
Oh right, so I didn't do my research. What's that about?
It's about makeup and props.
All right, so obviously for your cosplaying that is important. Great tips. I mean, is there any particular character you're going for or?
I was going to be Mikasa, but my wig didn't arrive.
Oh.
So now I am generic.
Do you want to know, we were actually over there wondering what character you wear, and it was the hair that would have given it away, obviously because of the whole uniform thing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I love the ride! Enjoy my stay here in Dundee.
Fantastic, yeah, let's do it,
Let's get in high five.
Lots of high fives. Yeah.
Are you here for anything other than the cosplay? Will you be entering the competition?
Not the competition, but I'll be in the masquerade if I can manage the time. I really want to though, get up on stage and like show off. Look, I made a sword, and look at my sword is amazing.
Oh my god.
We'll try not to lick it.
It tastes like raisins.
I'm just here to see what happens.
All right,
First time.
Were you here last year?
No, first time we just said that.
time.
Come on, Dan.
First time.
So first time at Dee?
Last year.
Oh man, last year was great. I was there, but not as Dee Con. Not as
GameAether, you mean?
Not as GameAether, but as my own socially awkward self.
Yep.
DodgeCon was great last year, although I hear it's supposed to be like twice as big, so...
No, I just heard that there was a convention, and I love conventions and I love cosplay, so I was like, yes, making a costume, going to the time.
Absolutely, yeah, we were here last year and there was thousands, but obviously Kill la Kill wasn't a thing yet.
Yeah.
So yeah. No, we were here last year.
I was.
It was brilliant. Were you at, was it like D when it was first Dee Con or Dodge? C. Right.
Actually, this is my sixth time. I've been here since the first one, but this is my first time organizing things. So.
My mind was getting blown all over the place today. I thought there was only 3 Dee-Cons. I was here last year. Then somebody said they were here, this was their 4th time. I was like, there was a 4th?
It's actually 6th. The name has changed due to copyright issues. People change for organizing it. So.
I thought it was just like a preferential thing.
No, it's just issues with the name, so we had to change it. So.
We have our own incumbent Bobcat here at Dee Con today, dressed up as good old Wesker, the original, low poly version.
Low poly as fuck, man.
Low poly as fuck, you can see the triangles in his face. So, well, you may have seen Wesker or Bobcat on YouTube with his fantastic Let's Play of Medieval. His brilliant thumbnails. And he's here today to break the hearts of millions of Wesker fanatics across Dundee, all 29 of them. Yes, I think we have about double the population of Dundee here in the field. All these buildings are derelict.
The rest of them are all drug addicts, that's why they're not here.
Exactly, drug addicts. So, right, we will move on and we will see Wesker in the cosplay competition, which he said he will enter. He will enter. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, 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 yes.
It's too late for that.
We'll see.
As a fan of anime or of gaming, you won't run short of things to do or see, and those falling in the middle of this Venn diagram of interests may find there aren't enough hours in the day to do Dee. From merch stalls to industry veterans, you'll have a hard time finding yourself bored.
Jordan really getting in there today.
Hi.
You work here, right? I did hear you right. So what part did you take charge of, or is it sort of like a team effort?
It's teaming. I'm doing the furnituring, so we're just drawing and all that.
fantastic. We really wanted to talk to one of the organisers, but we feel we just sort of get in people's way.
Yeah, they're
So-
all a little busy, yeah.
Yeah, I got that. When picking these up earlier took about 25 minutes because everybody was hustle bustle running around and stuff. But you really pulled it together. I mean, I'm loving it. I was here last year.
Licensed mask. Check out of that. The only thing is it doesn't fit with the fuck. It's huge, it's absolutely massive.
You were going to wear it here, weren't you?
I was going to do the Psycho cosplay, but I backed out and brought my $300 assassin jacket instead. So.
You sort of worried that it would be too in your face
Yeah,
when he was
running
interviewing
about
people.
shirtless, shouting at people. You know, like...
Totally not over-sexualized.
Yeah, as well.
Well, we are loving this,
Yeah.
and if we could talk to you later,
Yeah.
that would be great. First of all, I would like a picture.
Yeah,
Ants!
because I'm trying to show you.
Dee Con isn't just an oasis for anime and gaming fans in as dry a country as Scotland. No, Dee Con is an open and massively affordable platform for talented young artists and merchants all over the UK.
I ended up doing an episode of Gokwan TV show.
All right.
Yeah, and well, the actual experience of filming was amazing. When they aired the episode, I was not exactly best pleased with how they portrayed my fan culture.
All right,
And
all right.
so after Gokwan publicly on national television said Zoe, the depressed emo goth, that will never find a boyfriend because she likes John Barrowman and Doctor Who, I've kind of taken it slightly personally.
Yeah, you kind of would that.
Yeah, and I was like, so I got the TV show to at least apologise for calling me a depressed emo goth that likes John Barrowman.
Yeah.
But after that, I've kind of been a bit like, no, I'm going to write about this. So,
Yeah, quite right.
And ever since I wrote an article about it, I've started being invented things like this to talk about what happens and why you shouldn't listen to Gokwan and
Yeah,
change
absolutely.
everything about yourself in the hopes that you might attract a man.
You're talking to Craig Anderson or DJ Momoka. You can see he got his name wrong on the banner, which is disgraceful, if anything. I mean, come on. Right, but you are DJing the DJ Battle tonight.
Yes, I am.
How long have you been DJing?
Just over a year now.
Just over a year, it's going well. I actually listened to some of your stuff on SoundCloud when Dee Con first shared it. It was pretty good.
I know, I wasn't happy with that stuff. Like, I'm getting better like over the months as well. So like, I listened back to that. It's like,
I mean, your J-Core Eurobeat thing was pretty invigorating. I liked it. I enjoyed it. I think you put a stream up. I didn't listen to that yet. Maybe unprepared, but
Yeah, that was like the best I've ever done. I had like 5 people. That's the way things go.
yeah, that's the same for us. I mean, we have like 3 people listening to our streams or whatever, and then they bugger off. But yeah, how did Dee Con approach you? Did you just say, all right, we hear your stuff?
No, I approached them.
Oh, did you?
Finally, it's like I better get myself out there. I want to start doing this.
I think this is probably the best way for you to go about that, really.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we'll be sticking around for the DJ battle, but if we do, we'll be sure to give you away from the crowd.
All right.
Thanks very much, Doc, for me. DJ Morocco!
Perhaps the biggest question plaguing the minds of tomorrow's games designers is, how do I tackle getting into the games industry? Game dev veteran Phil Harris sheds a valuable light onto the issue. After a veritable cornucopia of food for thought, I took 5 to chat to Phil myself to see just what a game developer develops.
Right, Phil, that was a fantastic talk. Very happy to meet you. Interesting, especially for anybody wanting to get into the industry. Just a couple of points I wanted to ask you about. You mentioned what you were in writing and design. Is that something you've been wanting to do? I reckon you sort of answered it throughout. But yeah, it's. Have you had an interest in writing in anything in another form than games, like for books? Well, you were a journalist also, weren't you?
Yeah, I was a journalist also. So I wrote for Square Go, and it was on the basis of my writing for Square Go, and the fact that Square Go we stuck to the Guardian process of like writing articles to the Guardian guidelines, although we got our spelling better. I got recognition as a journalist, as a proper professional journalist. As I said, there's a sort of people like frown on games journalists, but they are a hell of a lot better than they used to be. And then I got the journalism job. I've written some short stories. I'm halfway through writing a book, and I'm halfway through writing a role-playing game, which is a different experience from writing a video game as well. So.
Well, of course, yeah, we have quite a few tabletop aficionados on our team.
Yeah.
I reckon they would appreciate the talk about that. Fantastically well done.
Yeah. What kind of style of tabletop game is it? Is it sort of like For instance, you've got your Dungeons and Dragons Pathfinder sort of really open, do whatever the GM wants to do, or is it more like the name fails me, there's one that's basically just like a dungeon that you go for, you know, the older style tabletop games?
It's definitely, I've always run my role-playing games open. When I was game mastering at GameAether, the Edinburgh Role-Playing Society, the Edinburgh University Role-Playing Society, I had 3 games running at the same time and 45 players. And when that game reached its 10th anniversary, we had my friends said, "Oh, let's just like get together in the pub," and I was just like, "Yeah, okay, but nobody will come." And so there were about 3 people there, and we'd booked the back room of the pub, and then suddenly there were 90 people there, all in the back room. And unlike any other event, I never really thought I was a very good writer or a good like storyteller. About 2 hours in, I sort of had to wander across the room, and over here they were talking about the Parmenides and like the socio-political problems that were happening there, and over here they were talking about the Kafir and like the fact that they couldn't integrate with this alien race. Here they were talking about the Sharia. Everybody was still talking about the game. It was that point I was like, yeah, maybe I can do this. You know, it's just like.
Fantastic. Do you still think that sort of metric has any place in modern gaming, like video gaming as well? Sort of, there's a completely different way of thinking, I feel.
Video games are interesting. I do a lot of social media stuff as well, and I lecture and talk about social media and about the fact how much I hate it, even though I've got stupid numbers of followers. And I think there's a breakdown of privacy, and there's a bigger question about that. But I think when you look at Mass Effect 3 and the reaction to that, if Mass Effect 3 had come out in the same year Mass Effect 1 had come out, there wouldn't have been any complaints about it because the social media wasn't there. Twitter, Facebook in that format just wasn't there, and nobody would have complained about it. But now everybody feels that they can have an opinion, and everybody feels that they can put in their tuppence worth. And sometimes they're right. I think the ending of Mass Effect 3 was disappointing, but I've never been a fan of BioWare games anyway, so I'm not really one to talk about that.
I feel in social media terms it tends to be a bit of a tide, like people just seem to assume that school of thought.
Yeah, and I mean you get one famous person tweeting something and then you're either in a world of hurt or a world of happiness, you know, and so Angry Birds is definitely not the best game in the universe, and it's depressing that they've sort of done a Star Wars version and things like this, but I'm not here to stop it. There's other companies who I would suggest are far more corrupt in their machinations of picking up games that smaller indie developers have done and bastardizing them into their own version.
Dungeon Keeper was probably the most prolific. I wouldn't call it prolific, but it was one of the most deeply scarring. I feel it was a fantastic franchise to grow up with, and then EA sort of just snipped it. And if you've actually seen the Android version that's come out, it's basically just a microtransaction riddled piece of crap.
But yeah, and I think EA. I've heard from people who've worked at EA, and they say they're actually a really good company to work for. Mm-hmm. But I think EA try things, but they do it very, very bluntly. Mm-hmm. I think Sony are very, very good at trying things and trying them to extinction. PlayStation Portable relaunch at every E3 ever. It's just have you got a PlayStation Portable?
The GameAether team weren't the only lads twiddling their thumbs without some buttons to mash, and it seems the D team are quick to answer the thirst of gamers going cold turkey for D. Game stations were set up running the gamut from next gen to ultra vintage.
We're here with Gordon McKendrick, and why don't you tell us what you're doing here?
So we're here with Drop. It's a game for the Oculus Rift. We made it part of the third year group professional project at Abertay. Also brought along a couple of games we made during a few game jams. So just showing off the kind of things that we do. And that's pretty well it, yeah.
So from a professional standpoint, would you say that the Oculus Rift has an actual logical place to go in the evolution of gaming, or do you think it's just a knick-knack on the side?
I think it's another step. It's not replacing anything. It's the same way as, to me, it's like flight sticks. That it adds something for people who want that kind of extra experience.
Exactly, yeah.
Games shouldn't rely on needing you to have a flight stick for it to be a good game, but when you've got one, if it supports it, then quite often the games.
I suppose when you're thinking of games, there's something for everybody. People that want to use flight sticks, and maybe people that want to do that.
So going to be taking a shift on the Oculus Rift, and we'll see if I throw up.
I have waited what seems like forever to get a shot at the Oculus Rift, and even there Dee Con had me covered. Finally, I could get my head in the game. So you've stopped, you've looked, you've listened, what haven't you done? Bought swords? No, but how's that relevant, right? Well, quite relevant, as you're about to find out.
And I'm here with Mark Wilkies, who is running this, what would you call this?
It's Historical European Martial Arts, or HEMA for short.
Alright, fantastic. And I hear it's not quite recognised as a sport yet, but there is work being done to change that.
It's recognised as a sport in a number of European and American states.
Sweden, is it?
Sweden in particular, yeah.
Oh, I heard you were there, won something prestigious.
I came 16th in their sabre competition and made it 33rd in their steel longsword out of 200 competitors.
Well, that's fantastic. So what made you choose this? Is it just an appreciation of the art, or?
Well, I started doing Eastern martial arts since I was about 4 years old.
All right.
I got into medieval reenactment and decided from there, when you start learning about the history, you want to know about the actual texts, researched some of the original 14th century manuscripts and decided to create a martial tradition for one of the university societies.
Fantastic.
And then from there we moved on and we got better and better and we started competing internationally, and now we own a school here in Dundee.
That is brilliant. How many students do you teach currently?
Anywhere between 20 and 60.
20 and 60, that's fantastic outcome. So you're proud of where you are?
Oh, very much so.
Where do you see yourself going in the future with this?
Ideally, I would like to be doing this full time. At the moment I have to do a part-time job along top of this. And ideally, getting higher up in the World Championships would be.
Oh, well, that's a respectable goal. So, can you teach me a thing or two? It's been a fantastic day here at Dee Con. We've seen cosplayers run the gamut from anime to gaming, merchants peddling their fantastic wares, also anime to gaming, TV, everything we've seen. The party's still going on here. It will be until the early hours of the morning. We here at GameAether are done, but you can check out the individual clips below on our website, www.gameaether.com, on Facebook, Twitter or Tumblr. Catch up with us.